Not every success story starts with zero. Sometimes it starts with a false sense of security. See, Rexel already had one internship in his resume, so he thought the next one would be easy as cake, but it wasn't. By the time he realized recruiting season was slipping away, the interviews still weren't coming, and as an international student, the margin for error was even smaller. What changed wasn't just effort, it was precision. He got ruthless about fixing the details on his resume and LinkedIn, practiced the exact kind of questions that mattered for Amazon, and stopped letting the international student equals bad odds narrative dictate the outcome. That process helped him turn a late, stressful recruiting cycle into an Amazon internship offer in San Francisco. Let's get into it. So Rexel, we'll go all the way back to the beginning. When did you find the accelerator, and then where were you at that point?
Yeah, so when I first found the accelerator, I was sort of just like struggling to get an internship, like finding an internship. So like around 2 years ago when I had like my first, I guess what you say, like the small company internship, I got very lucky and I got that like at the last like mid-May, which is basically like when tech hiring basically stops. And that's like a school program, so I got it. And then next year I thought like, okay, all it takes is one internship, right? So if you have one internship, it should be easy going from there. So that's why I didn't really like lock in during the fall. Like I think I only did 100 applications when I think I should have done more. So because of that, like by the time fall is starting to end, I didn't realize like, oh my God, like tech recruiting is like almost gone. Like the big tech firms are all gone. And I really need to get an internship now. And I thought it was going to be easy because I have that software engineering internship in my resume, but I'm still not getting any interviews except one that's like from Google. And so like I was just like searching around like, oh, how should I actually get a software engineering interview? So I was just watching videos, like scrolling TikTok, scrolling Reels, and then I saw like I saw your video. So I've actually been a viewer of you for like quite a while, from like right now it's 2026. So like before even like I first got my first internship, I've always watched your videos. So it's really like an honor to be able to just be on a call with you right now.
Nice.
So yeah, I've always watched yours, but I never knew that you have like a engineering accelerator. And so like first of all, I was like, of course there was like a little bit of skepticism. I was like, can you actually get a job by having someone mentor you? Because like I've done coffee chats with people and all they say is just mass apply to 300, 400, 600 jobs. And I'm like, I feel like I've applied to like 300 at this point, but I don't get any interviews. So yeah, I then just saw like I decided to like check it out, and then I remembered Favor, like he reached out to me and then we had a little call. And then I had like discussion with my parents, of course, like, oh, do you think this is going to be worth it for my future job prospects? And then we both decided like the investment, I think we paid like 4K is gonna be like way better in the future, because if we get an offer from big tech, that's gonna be like way more than just a small company. Like there's gonna be a huge margin that you can get. So then that's why we decided to join. I also like reached out to a bunch of the software engineering accelerator alumni, just like to make sure like, oh, what is the program like? I want to make sure it's like, well, like legit, and like doing some due diligence basically. And then like after we decided, like I think right after Favor's call, I instantly got a Google interview, which is what like further, I guess for it further like pushed me to apply, because I've been applying to 300 and I was like, there's no interview. Suddenly I got one and I'm like, okay, let me just apply, and then we're gonna hyper fast track this entire software engineering accelerator to Google, and then maybe we can see what happens in the future, right? So
For sure.
then that's how I found out that how about this accelerator. I was just watching your videos, and then you in one of your videos, like your YouTube videos, you said like, oh, we're running an accelerator. And then yeah, I just joined the link, and then yeah, I just like joined the accelerator.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good background, man. So I actually have a couple more questions before we dive
Oh
into your
yeah, sure.
experience in the program itself. First of all, like what school do you go to? What
hmm
year are you in? And then you're also an international student, right?
Yes, I'm an international.
Got it.
So I'm from UMich, University of Michigan, and I'm a computer science major. And I'm currently, so it's kind of weird for me because I dropped out of high school at 10th grade, and then I took my high school while also doing like freshman credits. So in my 11th and 12th grade of high school, I was in like community college, and then I spent 2 years there, and then I transferred to UMich while also like getting high school credits, college credits at the same time. So when I went to UMich, I was already junior in standing, so I only spent 2 years here. And so like I decided to extend like one semester because unfortunately, like a lot of my classes, like my CS classes from community college, they didn't transfer because of like they accepted like C++ and they I used Java and UMich accepted C++. So I had to extend a single semester. But at the end of the day, I was just spending 2.5 years here. And then, yeah, I sort of just like graduate. I should have just like came here. So I had like two internship chances because I had 2 summers and then I'll graduate at the end of this year and then I'll have to find a full-time job. So yeah,
Got it.
first internship was like the small company, and now this next internship was when I found the software engineering accelerator. And like even though my main target was like Google, and like at the end I managed to get Amazon, and I feel like the software engineering accelerator, like especially Yvonne and Peter, they're like really like actually really helpful for my
Nice.
career success. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely want to talk more about that. But just to kind of hit the home point even more, or the point home
Mhm.
even more, you're an international student. So do you
Yes.
feel like that made things even harder? Like not only
Yes,
are
definitely.
things like not super easy, right? Like you're an international student, so the number of companies you can go for are even more limited. So I guess did that kind of influence your decision to go and try to get extra help to just try it on your own?
Yes, I think like this is like outside of job recruiting itself, like in UMich, people are just ambitious in general, and there are some international students. Like, if I have to say in general, like out of like 50 to 60 Indonesians who are international here in UMich, like 90% of them just don't get jobs and they just go back to Indonesia at the end of the day. And then I just think like, okay, my parents spent so much money to like make me go to school in very expensive university. UMich is like one of the most expensive public schools. Like, why do I just go home and make Indonesian wage? You know, like USD versus Indonesian rupiah is like so different, right? So then I was like, okay, I have to try my hardest and try to get like ROI in a way of like what he invested in me. And so like I then like, but the thing is like because everyone is not getting jobs and is going home, there is like this sort of like always like social dynamic where it's like, oh, the job market is bad. Oh, you're an international student. You're probably not gonna get anything. And then like it's funny because the people who believe that the job market is bad and they cannot get anything end up not getting anything. And like the very few people who like believe in something, they usually kind of get like ridiculed by the people because they're like, oh, why are you two believing? Why are you two believing? But they're the ones who get the job at the end. Like I know a few friends, well, actually only two. One got KPMG and one got like Qualcomm. And then like I was like the one who got Amazon, which was like very funny because yeah, like no one like believed in me basically at the same time, which was like a little bit more personal side. And also career fairs are like a huge thing. Like UMich always hosts so much career fairs. There's like they had a winter career fair, fall career fair with around like 200 companies. But out of all of them, like they had like a filter, like willing to sponsor CPT, OPT, it just becomes zero. Like sometimes it was zero out of the 250, or like the only ones that sponsor are like non-profit organizations that pay you like $1,000 for the entire summer, but then you're working 40-hour work week. So like the options are very limited, and like even if they exist, they're pretty bad. So
Yeah,
I'll,
that makes
I,
sense.
I think that fuels to like yeah, the more Indonesian community. And then like that's why when I got this Amazon offer, like it was very funny because like a lot of Indonesians like suddenly reached out to me. Like my roommate, he's Indonesian too. And then he's like, "Oh wow, it's such an inspiration. You're able to get an internship. Like an internship itself, being an international student is hard, but a fine company with an internship is like, wow, that's even way better." So many people said like it's sort of like an inspiration because like from the general history of like Indonesian internationals, like no one just really gets anything. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a really interesting background. Like I think you're 100% right. You probably know I talk about this all the time. If you
Yeah.
say the market is bad, the market will become bad for you. Right. So you
Yes.
almost have to just like delude yourself into thinking like I'm not going to worry about this. I'm going to focus on what I can control, which as you know is resume, LinkedIn, networking, behavioral, technical, OA, lead code, right? Those are the big factors into play here. So kind
Yeah.
of actually going to the accelerator itself, like you mentioned how you felt like Peter and Yvonne's help was really helpful. How was the resume LinkedIn help before we kind of get into the interview prep?
Okay, that's nice. So for the resume specifically, I realized that okay, my resume, like when I ask people on LinkedIn, like I like to do cold outreaches to people, right? Because I'm like feeling like, oh, I'm not getting interviews, so there must be something wrong with my resume or my LinkedIn maybe. So I reached out and then like people when you cold outreach to them, I don't think they're like really like checking your resume one by one. They just skim it, right? And all of them are just like, oh, it looks good. You use star format, use numbers. Okay. Like this is a good resume. Like feel free to submit it, but then like you just don't get anything. So when I went to the software engineering accelerator, like Yvonne, Peter, like literally reviewed it line by line. And I remember like going on a call with you too, like you actually reviewed it line by line. And then like there was like small things that like I didn't even catch on, which was quite ridiculous now that I think about it. Like the dashes were like a different M dash. And then like it's a small thing, but it really can ruin your impression in a pool of 1,000 resumes. And just like simply maybe like I had like last time company name and then the city under it. If I move the city beside it, like I have more space to write more things and like pass the ATS, which was something Yvonne said. And then that basically like added more keywords in my skills section. And that is what I think like really helped me get past the ATS, especially with like this Amazon internship, because it was more of like an internal opening that I think they just saw my resume. It wasn't for a role I formally applied. It's just like, oh, you look like a good fit. What do you think of this interview? And then I'm like, okay, I'm done. So LinkedIn wise, like no one really guides you on LinkedIn, at least like based on my cold outreach. Like there isn't much resources or people is just not very willing to do it online from my experience. So like being able to show a story, like I saw from one of your modules, like LinkedIn, show your story in each of the bullet points. And then I just see like some of these people in their LinkedIn bullet points, like they don't even put anything. And then they're complaining why they're not getting a job offer. And then it's just, yeah, I just applied your modules. Like they were really helpful. Like even though it's information dense, it takes time to like actually understand it. But once you understand it, it's sort of like you just see the path. It's very clear. And yeah, like Peter and Yvonne like further reinforced it because if I did it myself, even like using AI, like I'm still not fully sure if it's actually good or not. And then Peter and Yvonne had like some grammar changes. Sometimes they had like, oh, I didn't hear you talked about X in this specific accelerator or in this specific activity. Well, I remember that you did this. So like maybe you could add more. So yeah, that really helped. And yeah, I think that's what helped me land like this Amazon interview actually, like based on my resume and LinkedIn.
Nice. Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that the
Yeah.
feedback was really helpful. And you're 100% right. Everybody thinks their resume is perfect, but basically we've worked with over 500 people and almost
Yeah.
nobody's resume is perfect on the get-go. There's always things to improve, especially when you get multiple eyeballs on it. Like you'll have Yvonne will look at it, then Peter will look at it, then I'll look at it. There's always going to be small things you can change. So glad to hear that that was helpful. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the interview prep. So you used multiple mock interviews with the team. How did you
Yeah.
feel like the interview prep was, especially for Amazon?
Yeah, so Google specifically, like it was actually very helpful. So I was a little bit confused why I didn't get the Google interview, the Google next round. I think it's because they just kept delaying my interview. So my interview was originally like early November. I ended up getting it like mid-December. It's a whole 1.5 months, and I was like
Mhm.
ghosted 5 times during a Google Meet. So I was like nervous in the Google Meet waiting for 10 minutes. No one just pops up and then they reschedule it again. So that happens, and then I feel like that was just a logistics problem. Like it's not about me. I feel like I really tried my best. And so like moving on to the Amazon interview instead, Peter and I feel like the ones that really helped me a lot was Peter and Yvonne. Peter was more on like the lead code technical. Yvonne was like basically the behaviorals and also even just the emails, like the back and forth emails with the recruiter. How do you stand out? How to make sure that I say the right word? And like sometimes, like funnily enough, from this Amazon, she was like asking, like, could you give me a 2, 3 liner of your experience? And then I like went through that with Yvonne, and then I just made sure like, oh, does this align with leadership principles and all? And she said, like, yeah, just send it. And then when I sent it, like she gave me an interview, like my recruiter gave me an interview offer, which was really cool. So I think Yvonne gave me that layer of validation and also just making sure that everything is right. The interview process was really helpful. I think Yvonne showed me like the most common Amazon behavioral questions, which funnily enough was exactly the same in an interview. So I had like a spreadsheet of like what to answer and like I already memorized it. So it was very automatic. So like Yvonne last time said, like, tell me about the time you failed and then like related to leadership principles. Even Peter told me to just literally read it off of the 14 leadership principles, just like read it like a bot. So did what he said exactly, and like I already practiced it. So the questions were exactly the same. I know what to do. And then so the behaviors were like very easy. The technical part wise, Peter also gave me like a few questions. Yvonne also gave me a few questions. And so I practiced those and like the most common lead code problems. All of them were helpful actually. So there was one like called valid parentheses, but this one is just like instead of outputting a boolean true or false, you modify the string in place to make it valid. So like I've practiced that because of the Amazon suggestions, which in the interview is really similar. So it's just appending and unappending a character. So it was pretty straightforward. And yeah, I just did a lot of practice, and Peter really gave me the right directions on like what specifically in like lead code should I focus in. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I think that's the best part, honestly, of having an Amazon recruiter on the team is
Yeah.
that she literally knows what Amazon hires for and what kinds of
Yes.
questions they're going to ask. And that she's going to make it so in the mock interviews and all of your communication, you're going to do the optimal thing. And we've had at least 5 to 10, if not more, people get Amazon offers through our program. And I think over
Oh, I
half the
see.
reason is just because like we're so locked in. I mean, I got an Amazon offer, right? So like I'm very
Yeah.
locked in with that in the system as well. So it's really glad to hear that the system really worked, especially in terms of like
Mhm.
company specific help. So tell me more, like I guess tell me more about the Amazon offer. Like when did you actually get the offer and then what are the numbers behind that?
Yeah, it was funny. So like yeah, first of all, like the program really, really helped. Like once I got Amazon interview, I was like, okay, every coach here has been in Amazon. Even Aman himself has been in Amazon. So like this is sort of like the perfect headquarter to get into Amazon. So it was really nice. And getting the offer itself, I think I got it like 2 weeks ago. So like during that time, I wasn't like really telling any of my friends. So it was a little bit like hard to keep it inside, obviously, because like I had the first interview, then I had the loop, and then I wasn't like I don't want to tell anyone, obviously, because like why should you tell anyone if you don't have the offer yet? It's gonna like cause unnecessary attention. And so when I finally got the interview, sorry, when I finally got the offer, I was so happy actually. I think like the email was sort of like this. So I was applying for Amazon. I finished the interview. They said that they're going to reach out to me about my result in 1 week. And then after 1 week, I didn't get any like news or anything. But I did get a final interview offer in a automotive company. It's called Yazaki. And so I got that because of like an internal Indonesian team. So like an internal Indonesian director who like advocated me to get the final interview. And so I managed to get that job offer. And then because I got that job offer, I was given only 2 days apparently to like accept or decline. And so I messaged Amazon, the recruiter. I was like, I already told you that I had a final interview a week ago. And then she was like, yeah, I totally understand. You already told me, so you've been in the top of my priority list. And then I told her like, oh, I need to finish I need to get a result from you by tomorrow because like well if not I'm gonna go to this other company and it will be bad if I just decline their company to accept yours. And then she was like okay I'll she was like a little bit panicked, but she was like okay, I'll let you know by the end of today, something like that. So then by the end of the today she sort of sent me like a message like with so many fields like first name, last name, phone numbers, blah blah blah, like all the way to the down. And then she asked me like, "Oh, could you fill in all of these details? This will be the details that will be provided in your offer letter." So when I got that email, it was like, "So am I getting an offer letter?" Because she said this will be the details will be provided with your offer letter. And so I added all of those details. I made sure with Claude, like Claude has an entire like instruction of my entire background basically. Made sure that nothing was wrong, everything was correct, like my address. And I filled it in. And then like that was like the longest 3 hours of my entire year at least, because like am I getting the offer or not? She kind of implied it, and then Claude said like you're probably gonna get the offer, and then she's like congrats. So I waited for 3 hours, and then like during that time I was just hanging out with my friends. Suddenly I got that email like congratulations, Amazon offer enclosed, which was very crazy because I'm an international student, and I just like freaked out in the moment. And then my friends like saw me freak out, and then they're like what happened, and then they saw the Amazon offer. And then it was like sort of like I'd say like sort of like a social thing, because like I feel like Asians in general too, they're like very, very, they're very strong on job prospects. So like seeing my me getting it and like me freaking out in public in front of all of them, like it was kind of funny. But that was like what happened on the spot. And then like I called my parents obviously, and then they were very happy too. I called my parents, my grandpa, grandma, like basically my extended family who like supported me throughout the progress. I've also had like a few friends from like my last internship at a small company who also did mock interviews with me like outside of the accelerator. I also called them and they all like congratulated me. So yeah, it was really nice. I had so much support, so I'm really, really thankful. And also thankful to this accelerator for like making everything possible. I think you guys were one of the biggest factors actually for the Amazon.
Awesome. Yeah, well, congrats one more time, man. That's
Yeah.
an incredible outcome. It's great that your family and friends could help you celebrate. I guess one or two more questions here. One
Yeah,
question is,
sure.
what's the actual salary on the offer? So you got Amazon, you also got another offer. So what were the actual numbers behind both those offers?
Oh yeah. So this was a little bit funny, and I can show you a story too, but basically in Yazaki it was like 22 an hour for the entire summer, which was not bad like in any sense, but it's average. And then Amazon I got this is pre-tax, so like it's just pre-tax and it's like pure money. It's 10,500 per month. So it's really, really high, which was a little bit funny because like me and my parents like had this discussion. We were like the average Google per month, at least that's what we found was like 8,600 to 9,000. But then not, especially for a PM role, it might be even less, maybe like 7,000, 8,000. But then getting rejected from Google and getting into Amazon gave me an even higher wage, which was like my family said like a redirection to like a better path or something like that. So yeah, that was the number specifically. And I'm gonna be in San Francisco from May 11th till July 31st. So there's also a housing stipend of 7,900. So it's nice, but San Francisco living rent is super expensive. But yeah, I mean, at least I have some stipend to like cover part of it.
For sure. Well,
Hmm?
again, one more time, that's an amazing outcome. The salary is great. The salaries just keep going up at Amazon, apparently. Like
Oh,
every
really?
single
Like,
person I talk to
is
every
it, does
year.
it go this high? Like, is it normal?
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing it, it was pretty good. It was like in the 50s. It was like 55 an hour. I just calculated. I think yours is
Oh,
in the 60s per
yeah.
hour. So they do like bump it up every single year. So I'm sure we'll start to get people at like $70 an hour, $80 an hour over the years.
Mm,
But I guess final question, Rexel, before we close out here
yeah.
is, what would you say to someone like you 6 months ago? So similar position, also an international student who's debating whether it's worth investing in yourself and getting help or
Mhm.
considering should I just kind of risk it and go on my own? Like, would you recommend someone invest in themselves and get help to actually achieve their goal?
Yeah, I think one would be definitely to be surrounding yourself with the right people. Like I think that's what you said in the module too. Like surrounding myself with the software engineering accelerator, it gave me sort of it's kind of funny because like people say, oh, there are no hidden insights, there's no secret formula, but I think there kind of is a secret formula. This depends on the right people, and there's a lot of nuance. So it's not like a formula per se. It's more like a way of applying and like just knowing the more tech landscape that isn't really publicly accessible knowledge. So being able to surround yourself, and I would like recommend the software engineering accelerator, obviously. And I think one would be just like your mindset in general. Like the typical international Indonesian is always like, "Oh my God, the job! Don't say the word job, just and then like, don't ever say that word. I don't like it." And like, no, don't talk about me about job market. And then I think like first of all, like if you don't face your fear, well, you're not gonna succeed in what you want. Like I know all of you guys like secretly want to get a job, but like it's sort of like a coping mechanism. So like just be brave, don't give up. Like I think for me specifically, like if you have like great ambitions, like if you're at the University of Michigan, like every second of you being in UMich is more important than every second of you in Indonesia because there's just way more opportunities right now, and like there's more things that if you even just spend 3 months of maybe like not even socializing, it will compound in the future once you get that Amazon offer, and then you just get wage over wage over wage. Like 3 months here might save you 5 years in the future. So that was my mindset right now, and that's something I'm gonna give to my brother because he's coming to the US too. He actually came to the US because I got an Amazon offer, which was very inspiring. He wanted to go to Australia. He got into UNSW, but he rejected his UNSW to take community college to follow my footsteps. So it was really nice. And if I get a full-time job, like I can just support him basically. And that's my next priority now. So yeah, first of all, just like the mindset. making sure don't victimize yourself basically. Say no, say to yourself that you can actually make it, and visualize sometimes, like before you sleep, visualize yourself coding, getting that high salary, and sort of working in a tech company at SF, maybe networking with the brightest minds in the United States, and then like try to find passion in it. Like, like last time I didn't really like computer science, but it's not really like forcing myself to have passion, but after learning more, you start to learn more of the beauty. And I think that goes with any subject. And then like try to apply it to yourself and try to find friends that can make like memes or like jokes about concepts that, because like memes and jokes stick with you so well, just like how your favorite music sticks. So if you're able to socialize with friends, then computer science just becomes more fun to be with because you have memes, you have debates, and then you meet like very types of people. Like you might hate this type of people, but then you can like socialize with this type of person. So it's sort of like an alliance too, like especially if you love video games like me. So I've been able to find joy in computer science just by socializing with people and, yeah, like you said, meeting the right type of people. So, and yeah, I think being able to just go out and network, because I know a lot of like Asian communities are more like conservative. They don't really like, they're not really encouraged to talk. So going to the US, they're always like, oh, what is networking? Like it's very disrespectful to just cold message a person, they're busy. So like people just don't tend to do it. So I think like being able to have an open mind and adapt, being able to be adaptive is a huge thing too. Yeah, that's what I would say to my 6 month self, but I would probably phrase it a little bit better because there's a lot of information. And yeah, something like that.
Nice. Well,
Mhm.
Rexel, I know I've said this a lot, but one more time, congrats. It's an
Thank
incredible
you so
outcome. I was so
much.
happy when I saw your message. You're still in the program. So, I mean, whenever you finish your Amazon internship or like whenever you want to start recruiting for new grad, I think you asked a question about that as well. We're
Yes.
here to help you. We'll help people get multiple offers. Like we'll get them Amazon or a great internship, and then they'll come back in 6, 12 months and we'll help them get another offer for full time. So, whenever you need help, we're here for you, man. But overall, thanks for the time and I'll
All
talk to you
right.
soon.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Aman. And yeah, I'm really glad of what you built here. Like I've seen your journey from like zero to hero and like making this entire like not startup, but like community, I guess. And yeah, I really hope it goes well. And thank you so much for just building this community.
Of course, man.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk to you later,
All
Rexel.
right
Have a
then.
good one.
Talk to you
See ya.
later. Bye bye.